Hello and welcome everybody, it's Karen. I am so excited that you're here because I've had so much fun making these cards. They all feature an inside pop-up or a moving mechanism of some kind. They're not hard to make. There are no special dies required. I was doing this for Paper Rose Studio and I was using their Christmas Tree Farm collection, so mine are all Christmas. But just think what you have in your stash that you could use, because I can see all of these being birthday cards, maybe anniversary, even wedding cards. They could be anything. So this is the second one. It's got the double inside pop-up, and honestly, I couldn't stop opening and closing this. It was just so much fun seeing those animals pop out. Now this is a double rotating spinner card. So there you can see both of those two little wheels will spin and turn as you open it up. So great if you have lots of extra images. Now this is how hard they are. If you can make this, you can make this card. It's just two score lines on your scoreboard. This one has a double diagonal line, but that's really how hard these get. Now for all of mine, I did add glossy accents to my pattern paper there, and I sprinkled on some clear glitter to just add a bit of extra, I don't know, bling to my cards. So keep that in mind if you have pattern paper and you want to spiffy it up, add some sparkle to it. Now, if you don't want to see this paper collection, which I'm sort of previewing for you here, jump ahead to the 3 minute and 16 mark and I'll meet you there. Otherwise, this is a really quick look at these papers. I have the 6x6 papers. So this was the basics, Christmas Tree Farm basics. And this is the Christmas Tree Farm. So there's lots of these really adorable images that make super easy cards. And then the cut aparts. They're just, it's Paper Rose has such a nice quality of cardstock. I really, really like it. These are the embossed die cuts. As you can see, they're all perforated and embossed, and you just pop them out, and they are super fast for cards or doing the cards that I'm doing today. Now, I've also got the tags and tickets here, which are also embossed, and I've used a few of these as well. But these would also just make really quick tags if you're, wanting Christmas tags for your cards or your gifts. These are the cut aparts. I love the cut aparts, to be honest. I don't mind fussy cutting. Some of these you could just use a die and die cut them out, but there are 18 sheets of 6 different designs. So it's 3 sets of each of 6. And I have used only these for the cards I just showed you. So for the cards I'm going to make, I'll use the embossed die cuts. So this is the first card we're going to make. It's the easiest of the 3. I've already decorated the front cover, and my card is a 4.5 by 6 inch size card. For this one, I would do either that or maybe 5 by 7, just because you got those 3 pop-ups. Now, from the front, I had this scrap of cardstock left, which I cut in half, and I wish I had not cut it in half, but maybe done 2/3 and 1/3. And you'll see why. Now you need 3 3-inch squares. I've covered mine with that alabaster white, and I did cut these ones from red cardstock, but whatever you want, white cardstock works too. You're going to need these 2 pieces of cardstock, just scraps. A 1-inch by 4.25 inch will be the mechanism, and then 1.25 inches by 9. Now on this 1-inch by 4.25, we are just marking it. So at the top at the 1-inch mark and at the bottom at the 2-inch mark. And we're going to make our diagonal lines from that bottom left corner up to that mark on the top, the 1-inch point. So I'm just lining this up on my last track of my scoreboard. And I'm going to go from that bottom left corner up to the mark I've made at the top, at the 1-inch mark, and from that top mark down to the bottom mark. So straight down from the top to that bottom mark there. So you should get that sort of triangular look. Now on this rectangle, we're going to score it at 1 inch, 4 inches, 5 inches, and 8 inches. And that's actually just going to give us a nice rectangle. So we're going to fold and burnish all of these into mountain folds. And then that last little flap there, we're going to fold it down and put a little bit of glue on it. And then you're going to fold this whole mechanism right in half and bring that other end up and over to meet the glued section. And that's going to give us a nice rectangle that we'll end up putting those squares on. Now I should mention also that I've got PDFs for all of these cards, and I'll have the links in the description box. So, you know, if you're looking for the measurements or you want to keep it, just check down there. Now, these are also mountain folds that we're doing on this triangular mechanism, but you do want to try to make sure that these lines are straight. So I was really trying to make sure that one was going straight up and down before I burnished it, because there's always a bit of give on a scoreboard. So just try to make sure that you get a 90-degree angle. And you can see here the lines on that arm are going to meet up with the edge of that triangular flap now. I've put a little bit of pattern paper on the bottom of that arrow part, I guess you could call it there, and that is going to line up with the center fold of the card. But in order to figure out how high up or how low to put it, I need to put one of these squares down. So that square has to go to the right of that right hand side of that triangle that I've got the green pattern paper on. So I've moved that over a little bit to the right and down near the bottom. And that you can see now why I wish that paper, I had done that differently, made it 2/3 and 1/3. But I fixed it by adding that trim there. Now that bottom point of that triangle lines right up with the card fold. So I was just checking to see where the card fold was there. It's just to the left of my pattern paper. So the bottom of that arrow lines up with the card fold, and the arm to the right should be parallel to the square that we've already put down. And then once you've glued that down, just double check that it's not crossing the fold line. Now on this rectangle, that bottom piece is going to actually go against the back of the card, and all we're going to glue this arm to is this long section here. Now I pencil in where the glue is going to go. You could just leave it exactly where it was, but for some reason I like to wiggle it up a little bit, and then so the pencil line doesn't show. But quite honestly, the pencil is all covered with that square piece anyway. But now I can see where I need to put the glue, and I'll also put glue on that bottom square down there, or rectangle. And that is going to attach to the back. So for now, I'm rotating it up, and I'm only going to glue that arm right to that edge of the rectangle. So you can see I've got them lined up on the right. The glue's on the bottom, so now I sort of flip that up and make sure that arm is nice and straight across, and then I can press the glued section down to the back of the card. And you just want to let that set up for a bit, because we're going to be attaching things to it, so you definitely want the glue to be dry. But once it has, you need to sort of close this, open and close it a little bit. So as you know, with pattern or with paper, it sort of takes one or two efforts to get it to fold and work the way it's meant to go. So that's all I'm doing there, is just gently folding it down, and then I can open and close it a few times to make sure it knows what it's doing. Now I'm going to put glue to the right of that triangle on the arm, and then up on the rectangular section there. And so the second square will attach to that. And I do like to leave that little gap at the bottom. I don't like paper touching each other when it's supposed to fold up and down, so that's why there's the gap at the bottom. And now I can put glue just on this last little bit of the rectangle and attach the third square. And again, I'll leave a little gap there just so they're not interfering with each other when it opens and closes. And again, you want to let that glue really set up before you do too much with it. So then you can see the mechanism there, so that's how it goes. Then all you have to do is just decorate however you want. And it's just super fun that pops out at you. I mean, I think birthday balloons and cake and presents would make a fantastic birthday card. So here's another quick look at both of them. So they both pop right up as soon as you open those up, which really is fun. Just two different ideas. They're slightly different with the pattern paper along the back. This one I added the poinsettias, and there it's the pattern paper. On the one on the left, I added that little deer tag as opposed to pattern paper. Okay, so we're on to the double pop-up card. Now, I absolutely love this card. I don't know if it's those little animals popping out from behind the window there. I don't know if that's it or just the way it works. But I've already decorated the card front. It's an A2 size card. Now you're going to need 2 squares of 1 3/4 by 1 3/4 inch cardstock. You'll need another piece of 2 3/8 of an inch by 5.5 inch, and that's just going to be the cover so that hides the mechanism. And then the main piece is 4 3/8 of an inch wide by 1 5/8 of an inch. Now we're going to score along the 4 3/8 of an inch mark at the 3/4, 3 1/8 of an inch, and 3 7/8 of an inch. And then we're also going to mark the top and the bottom at 2 3/8 of an inch. So we'll just flip that cardstock over and mark again at the 2 3/8. And that's going to show us where our diagonal lines are going to go. So we're going to go from one diagonal line across to the opposite scored line, basically, I guess. So right across. So starting with the top, we'll go from the mark we've just put on the 2 3/8 of an inch position, and we're going to go all the way down to where that score line is down at the bottom. So we don't go into that last rectangular tab there. So that's going down. Now we'll rotate it and go from the mark that was on the bottom of the card up to the score line, to the last score line there on the right. So it should look like that. So we haven't gone across that last section where we've scored it. All of these folds are again going to be mountain folds, so we're just folding and burnishing now. So we've got all the vertical lines. Now the diagonal lines we're going to fold across, and again you want to kind of watch that your fold will go parallel to that score line so you know you've got the right angle on these. So I'm just really holding that down, trying to keep that line nice and straight before I give that a good burnish and get it in place. And then we'll fold and go across the opposite way. And so even if you're using the grid lines on your mat, that helps to make sure you're straight up and down and you're not a little bit crooked. So once you've got that, where those, well, they're now horizontal lines are, you're going to push in there on both sides, on the left and right, and we're trying to get that little point. So it really is quite easy. So once you get that arrow type shape, we're going to put that down on our mat and really burnish that really well, which will just help it remember to go into that shape. Now, on the inside of your card, you need to decide if you want this mechanism to open up to the right or to the left. The way the arrow points is the way it's going to open up. So if the arrow is pointing left, it's going to open on the left. So on my mock-up I put it on the left side and thought, well, I'll do it on the right for the video. So this one I'm going to have pointing to the right. So I've put glue just on that first tab, and I'm lining that right up against my card fold. So I don't want it to go across, but now I can put glue on this flap, just this little rectangular flap. I'll hold it down closed, and then I'll just close up my card and it will pick up where it's got to pick up. But you definitely want to let these dry and let the glue set up before you really start playing with them. Now we're going to put glue just on this small triangle to the right of that vertical score line, and on the bottom one as well. And this is where we're going to attach those little 1 3/4 inch squares. So I'm only going to put glue to the right of that score line and below the diagonal lines. So I'll show you that in just a minute here. So you can see there, it's only on that half of that triangular point. Now these little squares, the bottom left-hand corner is going to line up basically with that point that you can see there from the diagonal lines. So I put them both on, and you want to have that little bit of a gap between them so it's not exactly butted right up against each other, but give them a bit of a gap, and then you definitely want to let these set up because there's not a lot holding those on. Now once you've got them and the glue has set up, then you're going to slowly open and close this card. You want to sort of press it in place, make sure it knows what it's doing. Now this rectangular piece is just going to cover up that mechanism, so we're going to put the glue on this arrow shape here. So that's where that goes, and then we're going to line this up top to bottom, and then just butt it up against that left-hand edge of the card. So I'm just putting that down and making sure I've got it where I need it to go up and down. And once you have it, again, just open and close a few times, press everything in place, make sure it knows where it has to go. And honestly, that is so much fun. So when I was decorating it, my animals extend past the squares, which is okay. I was a bit worried about this little dog at the bottom because those branches go quite a bit to the left, and I wasn't sure if it was going to interfere, but it was fine. I just made sure those went underneath the mechanism and put him on top, and nothing interferes when I open and close it, so I had no problems with that. But it's always good to double check, you know, when you've added something that it will go. So that's my finished card. I've just added a few more images and a few little snowflakes and a sentiment. And I tell you, it's so much fun watching those animals go in and out. So here's the other card as well, just so you get an idea. This one is on the left. Now because I did red on that centerpiece, I did add that little strip there. It is easier if you're right-handed to write with it on that side, but somehow opening it with it on the right also has a wow factor, so up to you which way you decide to do it. But really fun. Okay, so this is the double spinner card. Also a lot of fun. Now with this one, I have die cut that opening so that you can see that little bunny through to the front. It's almost like he's peeking through the fence at you. And so you can definitely do that, but on the card today, I have left it closed so you don't see anything of the inside. Now to make this mechanism, we need a piece of cardstock, 110-pound cardstock I'd say, that is 4 inches wide by 3 3/4 inches tall. And so along that 4-inch edge, we're going to score it at 5/8 of an inch, 1 1/4 inches, and 1 7/8 of an inch. And then we're going to go all the way across to 3 3/8 of an inch and score there as well. Then we're going to rotate this now so that we've got those 3 sections up at the top. And we're going to score down now at the 1 1/4 of an inch mark and at 2 1/2 inches. And that's going to be our main mechanism for this card. Now, there's some of this that we don't need, so I'm just marking it. Now, on the PDF that I've done, I've also got it marked on there. So, you know, if this is too fast, you can check on the PDF. But wherever there's an X, we're going to get rid of that. Now, we're also going to be doing a diagonal line across this small section where the 3 lines are. So I'm just cutting away these pieces that we really don't need here. And I'll show you what we do with that one with the 1/2 mark. So you can fold these tabs under if that makes it easier and just cut those pieces off. When it comes to that 1/2 mark that I've shown you, I actually don't measure that anymore. You could measure it. You could put it on your scoreboard and do halfway down. But what I do is I just take my scissors and I just cut straight up with my long scissors on that. those pieces are only going to turn under to support that bridge area, so nobody is going to see them. And I think so long as, well, even if they overlapped, I don't think it would matter too much, to be honest. But there's the mechanism. We've cut everything away, and now we're going to score along that last score line there. We're going to go from that corner down to this bridge part where I've just tucked that flap under. So all the way down diagonally across that square that we've created in the middle, and then we'll rotate that and go the other way. So from the top of that side arm that's sticking out to the right there, and all the way down to the bottom to the next section or the score line. So it should look like this. All of these again are going to fold down into mountain folds. Honestly, once you've done one or two of these cards, they're not hard to do. Now, those two wings there, I don't bother folding those anymore. I used to fold them, but I don't now. They need to stick out straight. They don't need to be bent, so I just leave those alone. Now, we're going to fold along that diagonal line. Just like we did before, you're going to try to line everything up, make it go nice and straight up and to the right, or yeah, I guess fold it up. And then we'll go the other way on the other score line. Now you guys, I have to confess, I did all this videoing, and then I thought, when I looked at it afterwards, I thought, oh, I didn't really explain this terribly well. So I did go back and I reshot some of the video, which is coming up, and you'll see. So same as the last one, we're going to go on the sides there, just push that in. Those two side arms just go straight down. They're not folded or anything, so they just go where they have to go. Now these two side flaps here, we're going to fold up and under that bridge, and that just gives it a little bit more strength. Okay, so this is the part I reshot. So the glue is only going to go on the top and the bottom sections. That's it. You also need to cut some circles. Now mine is 4 1/8 of an inch in diameter, and from that I cut out a circle that was 2 1/8 of an inch in diameter. I've also cut a 1 3/4 inch circle, which will be the one that goes on the top. Now, the reason I did these, I have a 5.5 inch square card, and this card here is a 5 by 7. You don't really want your circle to be any wider because you're attaching things to that, and they'll just stick out to the side or they'll jam up on the left. So I think 4 1/8 of an inch is kind of a good size for this. Now, the way this mechanism goes, we have it all nicely folded like that. I'm just going to put glue on this rectangular section. I'm lining it up in the middle of my card, and I'm butting it up against the fold line, and I'll just close the card on it. If you had die cut an opening on your card front, you're going to want to make sure it's lined up in the middle of that opening. Now we'll take our donut ring, and we're going to just lift this mechanism up a bit and slide that donut over top, and then push the mechanism back down again. So that donut ring is just sitting underneath those side arms that are there. We're going to put glue only to this rectangular flap at the very end, and then just close up the card. And again, all of these, you really want to make sure that glue has set up before you start playing with it. So that ring is now in behind the mechanism. You don't want it to be butted right up against that mechanism because it just will interfere with it opening and closing. So you leave a little bit of a gap there, but you also don't want it so close to that left fold line that it really can't move either. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom of that arm, that side arm, and glue my donut ring in place, making sure it's pushed back and away from that mechanism just that little bit and not too close to the left fold. This smaller circle is going to go on the upper arm. Now, if you put it to the left of that upper arm, it's going to butt into that fold line on the card. So I always keep these on the right side. I'm sorry I'm a bit off camera there. I've put a bit of glue on that arm though, and I'm going to attach this small circle onto the right side of that side arm. And then I always check this. So I use glue because I do have to wiggle these around sometimes a little bit. So I'm just making sure that that will open and close, and it does, so no problems. And now to attach this other circle to cover the mechanism, we're just putting glue on this point there, on that small triangle. And then this will sit right on top of that. Now you could make that a bigger circle if you want to cut another one. I just used what I had cut from the donut circle. And then you can add on to that, so you may have something that's a bit bigger that will cover it up a bit more. And that's how it opens and closes. Okay, so back to my card. I've got my mechanism. I've put glue on that rectangular flap. It's in the middle of my card, top to bottom, and I'm just closing that up. So it's all set up there. I'll slide my donut ring on top of that mechanism and make sure it's tucked under. I'm going to only put glue on that rectangular end section there. So there you can see where the glue is. I'm making sure my donut is underneath those arms, and I just close it up. And so now I can attach that donut circle to that bottom arm. So I'm just positioning it so that it's away from the inside fold and away from the mechanism. And then for the top one, I'm just adding this small circle to the right of that upper arm, and I'll close this up again one or two times just to make sure it's not interfering with that fold line on the card. I hope all this makes sense, guys. It's not so hard when you do it, you just have to try it out a few times. So there I've added glue to the center, and I am going to put that same size circle down. I do have a die cut that's a little bit wider than that, so that fellow is a little bit wider than my die cut. Now anything that goes on the right and bottom right corner, you have to be careful because it will stick out. The way this rotates around, it's surprising how much area these things take up. So I'm just double checking it there, and sometimes you just have to change the angle of your die cut image a little bit for it to clear and not come out the bottom. So that looked good, so I'm going to stick my little rocking chair there with the cat on it, and I'll double check again that it's not coming out and everything looks fine. So then I can go on to decorating. Now the other area to watch is this inside bit. You don't want anything to be so wide that it interferes with the fold. And then this small circle at the top, I am again using some low-tack tape to just try it out before I actually glue it down. And once I've got it where I wanted it, I glued it on. Now I had to put it at a bit of an angle, which was okay. I just, those branches needed to clear that edge there. So it's just a little bit of trial and error, but once you have it, it is so much fun. This, like, can you imagine getting this as a Christmas card and opening it up to all of that on the inside? I thought that was really quite fun. So that's the finished card. Lots to look at when you open it up and close it. It's quite amazing that it all does what it does, honestly. And so here's a look at the other one. So you can put an opening in the front or not, up to you. And that opening could be wider so you can see more of the spinning stuff through the front. But there you have it, guys. Lots. I'm sorry it's taken so long. I loved all of those cards, though. I hope you guys will try some of them and let me know if you do. I would love to know if you're trying them out or not. Thanks so much for stopping by and for sticking with me through this whole big long video. I hope everybody's having a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.